Hey guys, instead of putting up the answer key for last night's homework, I figured it would be better if I did a video to explain it. So this is from the June 2014 Regents, and it's question number 34. So it starts off by saying, a regular garden measuring 12 meters by 16 meters is to have a walkway installed around it with a width of X meters as shown in the diagram below. Together, the walkway and the garden have an area of 396 square meters. So what that's saying is that this entire area of the garden and the walkway is 396 square meters. So what we have to figure out is how to write an equation that can be used to find X, the width of the walkway. So we don't need a let statement because they already defined what X is. It's the width of the walkway. And if you look at your picture, you can see that X is shown to be the width of the walkway all the way around. And just get rid of this stuff. So how we have to do this is we have to figure out how we can use all this information. So we know that a rectangular garden, and this inner part, this inner rectangle is the garden, is going to be 12 meters by 16 meters. We know the walkway is X, and we know the entire area is 396 square meters. So what we need to figure out is what is the length and the width of this entire garden and walkway rectangle. So here's how we do it. If the side of the garden is 12, and then we have to add on the width of the walkway X and the other part of the walkway X, then we're going to have one whole side be 2x plus 12. Using that same logic for the length, if we have a side of the garden as 16, and we know the walkway has sides length of x, and there are two walkways to consider on either side, then the length of it together would be 2x plus 16. Now, we know that area is length times width. So if we put it all together, we have the length being 2x plus 16 times the width being 2x plus 12 will equal the area of 396. So that's how you're going to answer the first one. Now the easiest and quickest way I could describe how this equation models the situation is that this is my length and the 2x plus 12 is my width, and the 396 represents the area of the garden and the walkway. If you need to copy any of this stuff down to understand it better, then you might want to pause the video now, because in the next page you won't see it. So now we're going to determine and state the width of the walkway in meters. So the width of the walkway is x, and we need to solve and find x. So we're going to start, I'm just going to do my work up here and work my way down, because I know I'm going to write pretty big and I can't fit it all down below. So we're going to start by double distributing. So when I double distribute, I will end up with 4x squared plus 24x plus 32x plus 192 equals 396. In the next step, I'm going to combine like terms, and I'm also going to subtract 396 because I know I'm dealing with a quadratic and I always want to set it equal to 0 first before I factor or use the quadratic formula. So I should end up with the next step 4x squared plus 56x minus 204 equals 0. From here, I am going to use the quadratic formula, so I need to figure out my a, b, and c. So my a value is always the number in front of x squared, so that's going to be 4. Your b value is going to be 56. Your c value is negative 204. And hopefully we have the formula memorized, but if not, I can write it up top. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And by using that formula, I am going to start with x equals negative 56 plus or minus the square root of 56 squared minus 4 times 4 times negative 204 all divided by 2 times 4. Then I'm going to write everything down except for the number that's inside of the radical. And when I type into my calculator 56 squared minus 4 times negative 204, I will get 6,400 inside the radical. Luckily, that is a perfect square because when we type it into our calculator, we get the number 80. So, in the next step, I'm going to have x equals negative 56 plus 80 all over 8, or the other option will be negative 56 minus 80 all over 8. The two options are because we have that plus or minus. So now, when I simplify these two fractions, negative 56 plus 80 is going to give me 24, and 24 divided by 8 is going to give me 3 as an answer. The other answer, negative 56 minus 80, is negative 136. That number divided by 8 is negative 17. So I am going to reject the negative because I can't have a negative length of something, and since we're looking for the width of the walkway in meters, the answer has to have units, so it's going to be 3 meters. And that's it for the homework.